You go to Georgia Bank, what are they looking for? They're looking for an intelligent language coming through from elsewhere. And Carl Sagan there said if we found one, just one, we would deduce that there was, in fact, intelligence out there. Well, of course, within every single cell of our body, there is a language, there is intelligence, but because it doesn't fit in with what they want, they prop the idol back up again. No. You know, they won't have it that it's God. And yet, if they heard one language coming from space that had intelligence in it, they'd say, look, we found aliens, they're out there. You will find this, that they don't have a problem with aliens, they don't have a problem with aliens seeding the earth. But they do have a problem with God creating mankind. Right? Let's go to the next one, Kev. That guy's brilliant, by the way. He's a great guy to listen to.
Do you know that David wrote in the Psalms that all my members are written in your book?
Yeah, absolutely. Psalm 139, is it?
Yeah.
Psalm 139. Okay. This is by a guy called Franklin M. Harold, The Way of the Cell, 2001, page 205. We should reject, I love this, we should reject as a matter of principle, notice that, as a matter of principle, the substitution of intelligent design for the dialogue of chance and necessity, quoting Michael Behe, who is another atheistic scientist, microbiologist, that turned to Christ. We should reject what Michael Behe says about intelligent design, but he says, but we must concede that there are presently no detailed Darwinian accounts of evolution of any biological system, only a variety of wishful speculations. How honest! How honest! I'd like to see that honesty in the church. You know, when people go on evangelistic crusades and 10,000 have been saved, so many have been healed, and all this kind of stuff, and you think, where have they pulled them figures from? Well, at least this guy has the honesty here to say, but we must concede that there are presently no detailed Darwinian accounts of evolution. In other words, those little tiny increments that over millions of years build up to create the cell or whatever. He says, let's be honest, we've not found any in all of biology, only a variety of wishful speculations. Now, it's true that scientists use their imagination, right? That's how we've taken these great big leaps forward in technology, because we have an imagination. There's nothing wrong with the imagination, but the way that they get one kind evolving into another completely different kind is through wishful speculation. And their own scientists, this guy's not a Christian, he's not a Christian, but their own scientists, some of them are honest enough to say, let's be honest guys, when it comes to evolution, all we have really is wishful speculation. Now notice here, we should reject as a matter of principle what Michael Behe in Intelligent Design is saying. Why should they reject it? As a matter of principle. What principle? What principle? Evolution is a god for atheistic scientists. It is their god. Their Bible is the origin of species, and they'll do anything to defend it. They'll keep on propping back up that idol, even when we find gaps in the fossil record, even when we find irreducible complexity within the cell, they'll keep on propping their idol back up again and again and again. But if it's truly right, it'll stand by itself. It won't need propping back up.
I think that says it all as what's happening today.
Yeah.
That in schools where it's being forced,
yes,
you will learn evolution, creation,
yeah.
and that's frightening.
Yeah, it is frightening. Yeah. This is what Dawkins says. Yet the living results of natural selection overwhelmingly impresses us with the appearance of design. Again, I like the guy's honesty. I like that. Yet the living results of natural selection overwhelmingly impress us with the appearance of design, as if by a master watchmaker. Of course, the book's called The Blind Watchmaker. Yeah? Impress us with the illusion of design and planning. Amazing.
Yeah.
Go on to another one, Kev. I think we're nearly done. Just press the button and see what happens. Okay, does anybody know what that is? Not just a duck, a mallard duck. I tell you what, I was just expecting duck, but that's brilliant. It is in fact a mallard duck. Yeah, so we're all happy with that. Are you sure?
No.
Go on.
So it might be just a Kotek piece of code.
Yeah. Right, press the button once, Kev. Press the button once. Just once. Okay, this is called inductive reasoning. If it looks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, if it has webbed feet like a duck, inductive reasoning, which is used in science all the time, right? If it looks like a duck, if it flies like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, inductive reasoning, which is a part of science, says it is a duck. But they say if it looks like it's got design, if it's wonderfully designed, if you can see design, it only has the appearance of design. That's not inductive reasoning. Inductive reasoning is, if it looks like that, then it is that. Just press the thing down. Thanks, Kev. Yeah. Intelligent design is rationally justified. Okay? Do you understand what I mean by that? Today, you've only got to look inside the cell, and not just the cell, but everywhere, that intelligent design is rationally justified. It is irrational to say something has the appearance of a duck, but it isn't a duck. It might quack like a duck, but it's not a duck. It might have webbed feet, but that doesn't prove it's a duck. It might fly like a duck. The eggs may taste like duck eggs, but that doesn't prove they've come from the duck. You see? Well, that's called inductive reasoning, is when you can look at that and say, yeah, everything about that tells me that that's a duck. And everything about the cell tells you that there's design. Not the appearance of design. Design. That's inductive reasoning. Intelligent design is rationally justified. Shall I give you a clue, folks? This is one of the arguments that you can use with people that believe this stuff. It is so simple, people miss it by a mile. It's inductive reasoning. And that's what scientists use in every other sphere, apart from evolution, because it doesn't suit them. Okay, Kev? In order for something to be considered a science, okay? Down one. Number one, it must be able to be observed and tested. You understand this, don't you? If it's a science, it must be able to be observed. Can you see God? No. Okay? And so because you can't see the supernatural, because that's the way they see it, then it cannot be science. Okay? Down again, Kev. It must be naturalistic. It must be of this realm, even though quantum theory says there are things that exist outside of this realm. Nevertheless, science says, unless it's naturalistic, it's not science. Next one. Creation, by definition, is supernatural. This is why they reject it. You understand? They reject it because it's supernatural. Down again. God and the supernatural cannot be observed or tested, therefore they must be disregarded. These are their arguments. And they don't go any further than this. They just laugh you out of the room and say, look, it's supernatural, it can't be tested in a laboratory, so therefore it needs to be chucked out. Okay, Kat? Evolution, where a species changes from one kind to another, cannot be observed. Neither can it be tested in a laboratory, but they don't chuck it out. You follow that? They don't chuck it out. Next one, Kev. the origin of the universe, a one-time event, and the origin of life on this earth cannot be tested or observed. You can't put it into a lab and try and make it happen. The Hadron Collider was built to try and get as far back to the beginning of the Big Bang as possible, but no experiment on this earth can simulate a Big Bang. Otherwise, we'd end up with a Big Bang. There'd be nothing left. So when it comes to species changing, that can't be observed, but they're okay with that. When it comes to the origin of the universe, that can't be observed, but they're okay with that. When it comes to life spontaneously generating from nothing, 4 billion years ago they say, that can't be observed, but they're okay with that.
Well, then who did create the heavens and the earth?
Why do you use the word who? You see, you immediately beg the question by using the word who.
Well, then how did it get created?
Well, by a very slow process.
Well, how did it start?
Nobody knows how it started. We know the kind of event that it must have been. We know the sort of event that must have happened for the origin of life.
And what was that?
It was the origin of the first self-replicating molecule.
Right, and how did that happen?
I told you we don't know.
So you have no idea how it started?
No, nor has anybody.
Nor has anyone else. What do you think is the possibility that intelligent design might turn out to be the answer to some issues in genetics or in evolution?
It could come about in the following way. It could be that at some earlier time, somewhere in the universe, a civilization evolved by probably some kind of Darwinian means to a very, very high level of technology and designed a form of life that they seeded onto, perhaps this planet. Now, that is a possibility and an intriguing possibility. And I suppose it's possible that you might find evidence for that if you look at the details of biochemistry, molecular biology. You might find a signature of some sort of designer.
Wait a second. Richard Dawkins thought intelligent design might be a legitimate pursuit?
And that designer could well be a higher intelligence from elsewhere in the universe. Well, but that higher intelligence would itself have had to have come about by some explicable or ultimately explicable process. It couldn't have just jumped into existence spontaneously. That's the point.
So Professor Dawkins was not against intelligent design, just certain types of designers, such as God. So that